Hi all. So today we are going to look at variance covariance method in Excel, resulting in how we compute beta. So in order to, help us understand better in terms of computation, I've taken data of a particular stock named TCS and opening price and closing price I've taken from from January to June, and I have the TCS stock data. This I've taken from Business Standard, and based on the opening price and closing price, I have determined the returns. So closing price minus opening price divided by opening price. This gives me the return percentage. Now I want to compare this with respect to IT index, Nifty IT index, in order to determine the beta or volatility of TCS. So I've taken the opening price, closing price. This I have got from Yahoo Finance. So this is the data over here, IT index data. Similarly, I have determined the return percentage being the differential between closing price minus opening price and dividing that by the opening price for that respective month. So I've taken the closing price of a particular month being the opening price of the next month, and based on that, I've determined the respective returns. Now, in order to determine the beta using variance covariance method, firstly, what I've done is I have taken the average of all the returns that I have from January to June. So I've determined the mean of returns for TCS, use the average function. Same way, I have used the average function for Nifty IT index from January to June. After I have determined the averages for both as well as the Nifty IT index, then I've determined the deviation from mean rather. Firstly for TCS and then for the Nifty ID index. So when I have to determine the deviation from mean for TCS, uh, what I've done over here is I have taken in the respective individual returns for the month. So for January it was 3.1. So 3.1% minus the mean, that is 0.3. I've got the respective returns. I'll just increase on one decimal. Yeah. So this becomes a lot more clear. Also over here, I've got the respective, right? Now, once I have got the deviation from mean for TCS, similarly, I have determined the deviation for mean for Nifty IT index. Same way, using the same methodology. So taking in the respective return and reducing the mean for the IT index. Once I have determined both the deviations, then I've taken the product of the deviation. So this would be this 2.8% multiplied with this 3.3%. I've got this respective number, which is the product of the deviation for all the months. Same way, I've also determined the square deviation for the Nifty IT index. So I have got the deviation from mean over here. I have just squared this up, right, to the power 2. After I have determined the product of deviation as well as the squared deviation for the index, I've taken summation of both using the sum function, and I have divided it by n minus 1. So n being the number of entries. So this is for 6 months. 6 minus 1 becomes 5. Right? Once I have determined these two values in cell Q9 and R9. So cell Q9 basically represents the covariance and cell R9 represents the variance with respect to the Nifty IT index. Now, since we are using the variance covariance method, our beta computation would be covariance rather divided by the variance of the Nifty IT index. So I'm getting my beta to be 0.45 for the last 6 months, taking in the monthly return.